Hello, this is Alan Wheeler, and on this YouTube channel lately I've been discussing tarot and spirituality, and the title for this video will probably be something such as the Archeon Tarot addresses walking with Deity or something like that. And I'll use an analogy in a bit that may be a little unpopular, just if you were to judge a book by its cover. And I might just talk about unpopularity for a minute, because even though I have something like 40 subscribers to this channel right now, from time to time a few people will drop, and I don't know if it's because of my strange spirituality, whatever side of the fence somebody might be on, or if that's just a normal occurrence on YouTube. But I do know when I posted one of my videos at the religious forums where people debate and discuss all kinds of religious topics, and I posted my tarot reading on the science versus religion debate. A few people responded there, but I also had some replies to my post calling my approach, which I know is a bit outlandish, but one person called it what was it? I blocked it from my mind. Anyway, one person called it weird and bizarre. Goofy, that was the one. And yes, and the other person called it goofy, which I admit, such is life, such is what I've been doing. The analogy, which could on the surface come across badly, I guess, is that it was while I was walking my dog at the park the other day that I thought about an analogy of walking with Deity. And I don't think from any religious perspective comparing people to dogs or saying that we are in the role of a dog would be very popular. But just by analogy, as I was walking with my doggy, who I love dearly, I noticed that there was a kind of symbiosis that I've seen some polytheists and pagans talk about when discussing working with Deity. And that was sometimes the dog would lead me to where what tree or what bush he wanted to go to. Once in a while, if it was time to go or I had to go pick something up, then I would lead the dog a little bit. But there was no aggression or roughness, just communication with simple pulls, gentle calling on both of our parts. And again, only by analogy, I thought this kind of feels like how a symbiotic or balanced relationship might be, even though Deity, no matter how laid back and cool, kind of by definition is bigger and more powerful. So I thought it was a good analogy, and I thought I would pull some tarot cards to reflect on that idea, that symbiosis. It also came to mind because on the day, I think it was the 26th, the day of the new moon, I had some very powerful meditation experiences for longer and stronger, deeper than usual. And it could have been connecting with others, observing that new moon. Um, it could have been psychological, many explanations. But nonetheless, I experienced that. And coincidentally or by synchronicity, afterwards I came across a video talking about meditation, and the presenter uh, used several terms to refer to the same or similar experience: trance work, active imagination, astral travel, or path working, and or journeying. And the presenter thought that many of these things might be a similar or same experience. And I thought how that liminal space, that kind of edge or twilight between the conscious mind and the unconscious, the dream state and the waking state, is much like my experience with my dog, that symbiosis, that neither one completely leading or pulling the other, neither one dominating in that relationship, in that walk. So, with those things ruminating in my mind, I drew 3 cards from the Archeon Tarot. The first was the Six of Cups, and the cards themselves are in symbolist style, that style of painting, very dreamlike. And I know from the Little White Book that this may depict a mage, and the Little White Book discusses the wisdom and magic of the mage lost in time, the secrets of the mage lost in time. Which is a little different from my usual interpretation of the Six of Cups, but many people use the keyword nostalgia, and it is the six does relate, I think, to the Lovers in Paradise from the Lovers card, and that kind of paradise lost, that lost Atlantis, that childhood long ago, or those memories. And although I usually see in the card this balance of innocence and friendship, good communication, childlike fellowship, the image here and the keywords, the secrets of the mage lost in time, did lead me to think a little bit about how the vocabulary that is more popular in, I think, in the modern world is a little different from the ancient language, or the secrets of the mage. So I think in popular magazines and popular literature, words like active imagination would be more palatable than astral travel. um, even if they refer to the same thing. So I see presenters on YouTube who are careful to say whether you think of this energy as deity in itself, or an aspect of the higher self, or energy, that kind of care in describing highlights for me that issue. So perhaps we may or may not be referring to the same experience in different ways, but perhaps something is lost if we say falling in love is simply or is merely biochemistry and social constructs. Although it may not be literally a physical Cupid shooting an arrow, something might be lost by getting too modern and clinical in how we describe falling in love. Something of the sacred, something of the specialness of that. So the Six of Cups reminds me of this idea that just the concept of working with deity, of walking with deity, may be something that's lost. But maybe it's okay to experience, again, whether it's an aspect of the higher self or a reflection, a psychological reflection, or energy, experiencing energies or other things like that. Perhaps it's a useful, it taps into something powerful, although we kind of get away from that language. So this is the Secrets of the Mage Lost in Time. This was what I reflected on there. The next card I pulled was the Three of Wands. And this depiction, again, is a little bit different in the Archeon tarot. It shows the winged horse, the Pegasus. I think it's the moon, maybe in the background. But the little white book here talks about this horse is favored by the goddess. This horse has a noble purpose, a noble calling. And so there's in a way, that normal sense of this card in there being a enterprise or vision, but the symbolism's a little bit different here, as this horse seems to await the rider and the fullness of that noble purpose, that this the flight that may soon be coming for this mythological creature, the Three of Wands. And so, in a way, that's a parallel symbolism to my thinking about the my walking with the dog, and how perhaps the dog in its relationship with a human has, in that domestication, is ennobled, is loved, and is given a purpose beyond its doggy nature. So perhaps this is this mythical symbolism is much better. The last card that I drew was the Knight of Swords, and if you can see in the kind of shadowy card, there's a young woman here, and the look on her face is quite stern. If it looks like she has resolved to beat her opponent, whether it's a game of chess or a debate here. And so the familiar knight energy of the quest or the battle, and the swords idea of the air element, again, of battle or of mental critical thinking and mental activity. And to me, this brought to home, again, that higher vision or higher enterprise seen in the previous card, but yet there's a purpose, a strategy here, a focus that in my analogy, that the dog would not ordinarily have, or in the nicer picture here that's given to this Pegasus. And to me, these cards, this reading could be applied to walking with the higher self, again, walking with religion or walking with the deity. But it could also apply to the kind of path working or the visionary journeying as well. And in meditation, for example, the mind and emotions may wander, but they keep coming back to the breathing, keep coming back to the breathing. Or in the visionary journey, the walking that border between the wild, chaotic, free association, and coming back to that purpose of active imagination or trance work. And so in either kind of working with deity or walking with deity, perhaps there is that symbiosis, walking that borderline, that borderland, that twilight zone, so to speak. So those are some thoughts with the Archeon Tarot. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I hope you will feel connection with people in your life, with online community, and on your spiritual path, whatever that may be. Thanks again, and take care.